We no sooner finished filming the first version of the monster tomato video where we talked about using a wall of water to start tomatoes at the very beginning of the season to kind of give them a start. And we got a ton of comments and emails. People were panicked. They couldn't find a wall of water brand. And what we did, we went to some nurseries and we found this to be a very, very common brand. Essentially, they're water-filled hot caps, and any brand will work. These ones seem to be the most common. So if you were having trouble finding those, here's a good solution for you. All right, here we are about a quarter of the way into the season with our second video on growing a monster tomato. And I did a little bit of an experiment to show you what happens when you use the techniques that we're talking about and don't have an adequate tomato frame. So what I have here is an indeterminate variety in a tomato frame that's only probably 30 inches tall, and you can see 1/4 of the season we're already completely out the top of the cage and we're sprouting out of both sides. The challenge that we have if I let this go is that this will eventually, when the fruit sets, those branches will get heavy and they will lay over, pinch, and break off. It's a fair question to ask, why do I want to grow a monster tomato anyway? The answer is that it saves an awful lot of space. If you take a look at a tomato like this one in a traditional 30-inch tomato frame, in order to make enough salsa and BLTs for a regular family, you got to have 4 or 5 or maybe more plants this size. And the reality is most people don't have 2,000 square foot of garden space anymore. So if you take a look at what I've done here, I have in one 4x4 planter box what I'd call a salsa garden. So I'll grow enough tomatoes to have all the salsa I want and share with the neighbors, along with some green peppers and some onions in one planter box. It's really tight and it's clean and it's efficient. And you can only get enough tomatoes if you do it in this format. There's kind of a nursing process that goes along with this monster. We've got our tomato that's established now. It's about 6 weeks. We've removed the wall of water and it's absorbing the full hot sun every day. And remember that I described that the first month or so when that tomato doesn't really want to do much, and it just kind of develops roots and whatnot. And in that second stage, when it starts to gain some momentum, that's where we are today with this tomato plant. And then in the next probably 10 days is when we reach that super boosted stage where this tomato is going to want to grow 6 inches a day. And it becomes really important that almost every single day you come out to your plant and you kind of keep it under control. You bring in branches like this one, you tuck it in so that all of these branches stay inside the frame. We want these, when they start to set fruit, we want them to stay inside the structure. When we planted this tomato, we built layers of tomato secret so that as the plant develops, this material is breaking down slowly and providing nutrition. But in order for us to take this tomato out the top of the frame like we want to do, we're going to need to continually be building treasure chests for this tomato to find as it continues to grow. So once the plant is in the ground, of course, we can't go back in and put more underneath, but there are a couple of ways that we can do that artificially. So I've got my tomato secret, and I'm going to do what's called side dressing. And I'm going to just take my scoop shovel and I'm going to reach in here and I'm going to spread this material in and around the tomato plant. And I'm going to do exactly 3 scoops of tomato secret, or whatever I feel like. In other words, it doesn't really matter. You can do more or less if you'd like. And I'm just spreading this around in the planting area. Now, some people like to go in the soil out away from the tomato plant and dig down a little bit and actually bury little pockets of tomato secret so that the soil can break them down a little bit better. So you can do it that way. Put half a cup in and then cover it back up with dirt if you like. That might be more efficient, but I always just plain side dressing works great. And in my salsa garden, the neat part about a very diverse product like Tomato Secret is we really can use this on everything in our salsa garden. We can simply just put this on the soil right at the surface, the base of these plants. I'll give it a little bit of water just to kind of get it started soaking in. I can do my peppers, I could do potatoes, any of those types of things. You don't have to be worried about overdoing it, and it's just a simple matter of put it on the surface and get it wet, get it started working. I really like to use Tomato Secret in all different places in the garden, especially in things I'm going to eat. That slow, steady nutrition that it provides makes for wonderful tasting strawberries, and lots of them. It works on raspberries, also flowering plants. You have a lot of versatility and you really can't go wrong. I just take some and just spread it around in the planting bed, even in the areas where the plants aren't at this point, because the roots are going to move that direction. You can stir it in if you feel like you need to, but it's not critical. You can just put it on the surface and water it in if you like. It's very simple to use. So I think the real secret to Tomato Secret is that you almost can't go wrong. You just simply plant the tomato right using the product and side dress through the season. You don't have to change the dose. You don't have to be really careful about how much you use. You can't burn. It's just easy and fast, and it works every time.